a previous video, we looked at Joel 2 in what describes a strange people unlike any before, who destroy the land, who enter in at the windows like a thief, and are not wounded by the sword. Later in verses 23 through 25, it says the rain will come down in the first month, and the years that the locusts have stolen will be returned. This clarifies that these strange people are the locusts, which Revelation 9 tells us will become visible after the asteroid hits the earth. They come out of the pit after the rain of fire and brimstone. Joel 2:4 says they have the appearance of horses, and that's confirmed in Revelation 9:7. Joel 2:5 says there will be the sound of chariots leaping upon mountains at this time, and Revelation 9:9 confirms that the sound of chariots is the locusts. Revelation 9:8 adds that they have hair like women and teeth like lions. In Proverbs 30:13, it says there's a generation whose teeth are like swords. Then it goes on to talk about the horse leech in verse 15. The word translated as horse leech is number 5936, which literally refers to a vampire-like demon in the Brown Driver Briggs Concordance. So the horse leech is a vampire. Proverbs 30 says this vampire-like demon has 2 daughters crying, "Give, give," and there are 4 things never satisfied: the grave, the barren womb, the dry earth, and fire. Then in verse 20 it says the adulterous woman eats, then wipes her mouth. This, in verse 19, is the way of the serpent, and again the locusts are mentioned in verse 27. So the way of the adulterous woman is the way of the serpent. The adulterous woman in Bible prophecy is Babylon the Great. It says she eats, then wipes her mouth. And since we know this creature is a vampire, that means it is eating blood. It's drinking blood, then wiping its mouth. This creature is also mentioned in Isaiah 34. This chapter is clearly talking about the asteroid impact. In verse 4, it says, "The heavens shall be rolled together like a scroll, and this is the day of the Lord's vengeance," in verse 8. In verse 9, "The streams shall be turned into pitch and the dust into brimstone. The land shall become burning pitch." And in verses 13 through 15, it says, "At that point, the land will become a habitation for dragons and a court for owls. The wild beasts of the desert will meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the screech owl will make her nest there." The word translated as screech owl, number 3917, is Lilith, which is a female goddess known as a night demon. The word originates from word 3915, which means night or midnight, and that is from the same as word 3883, which means staircase or winding stair. And that brings to mind the song Stairway to Heaven, which talks about a lady who it seems to clarify later is the May Queen, when it says it's just a spring clean for the May Queen. According to Wikipedia, the May Queen is a personification of the May Day holiday, which is celebrated each year on May 1st. It was traditionally known as Beltane. The word Beltane literally means Baal's fire or shining. In Bulgaria, it's associated with snakes and lizards and bad spirits and witches in Portugal. In Lithuania, it's connected to the goddess of death, and in Europe, it's also associated with suffering and death. In Ireland, a sacrifice was made on this day to the god Baal, and in England, a lamb was sacrificed on this day. In Europe, there was a ritual on this day of pretending to throw a human into the fire, and some scholars believe this may embody a memory of actual human sacrifice. In Ireland, cow's blood would be collected in a bowl and left out on that day, and usually a woman will be chosen to be crowned the May Queen. So, what many believe to be a celebration of spring on May Day is actually a holiday dedicated to the god Baal, Baal's fire. Baal was a false god mentioned in the Bible, and there are many words used for Baal. In Numbers 22:41, the word translated as Baal is 1120, which it says is the plural of word number 01116. 01116 means high place or waves, and word 1116 is Gomorrah, and it means submersion. So there's the connection to the fire and brimstone again, the destruction of Sodom or Babylon by a stone that hits the sea, the waves, and the submersion. And what's also very interesting is the use of the word in Genesis 23. It says God came to Abimelech in a dream and told him he is but a dead man and that the woman that he took is a man's wife. But notice the words used for man and wife. Both words are Baal. The word translated as wife is number 1166, which is the word Baal, and means to marry or rule over. And the word translated as man's, number 1167, is also the word Baal. But aside from man, it also means owner, charmer, dreamer, or schemer. You may remember Jude says the men who crept in unawares are filthy dreamers. Specifically, they're identified as Pleiadians, and we're told they are twice dead. So Genesis 20 is talking about Baal and the dead. It's translated as wife in this verse, which connects us back to the Isha, the word usually translated as woman or wife. Genesis 1:27 and 5:2 make it clear that the word Adam refers to all humans, both male and female. The Isha, however, was made from the cells of Adam. In other words, the Isha was made from the cells of humans. This means that the Isha, or woman, was never a human female. It's only part human, which means it is a hybrid. The Isha, we're told in Genesis 4, procreated with Adam, which means it procreated with humans. I presented the argument in the Genesis videos that the word Isha cannot mean woman or wife, and that it actually means one or certain one. It's a hybrid being that is many times referred to as a woman, but it is not a human female. It represents a certain species. In Genesis 2:23, we're told the flesh of the Isha will be chosen and will marry the humans. Jude 1:4-8 tells us the men crept in unawares because Sodom was going after strange flesh. The strange flesh is the image technology that they use to disguise themselves as beautiful. That's why it says their beauty will be taken away in Lamentations 2. That taking away of their beauty is when they actually become visible to human eyes. That's why it appears that the locusts come out for the first time after the asteroid, but in reality, they're already here in disguise for a full generation prior. We're told in Genesis 3:7 that the Isha sewed together the branch of the fig tree. That occurred in 1948 when the fig tree Israel became a nation. That's also when we're told the dragon fell to earth after the War in the Sky, World War II, which ended in 1945. Genesis 2:23 says this marriage between the humans and the Isha is the bones of the feet. The book of Daniel tells us we entered the time of the feet of the image recently when the little horn Israel rose up 70 years ago. Daniel 2:43 says they will mingle with the seed of humans during the feet. The Nephilim fall out to mate with humans when humans begin to multiply on the earth, and that happened between 1920 and 1960 when the human population growth went exponential. Hosea 9 tells us they bring up their children, but there shall not be a human left. So the Bible seems to say they're conducting a breeding program. They're trying to breed the humanity out of us over a period of time. All of this we've talked about in other videos. So the Isha are hybrid beings described as a wife or woman in the Bible, and the word wife is also associated directly with the word Baal. The holiday dedicated to Baal is Beltane, in which a queen is celebrated, a queen that has a connection to Lilith. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, Lilith is listed as a demon under the dominion of Belial. It says, "You made Belial for the pit." Belial is described as the king of evil and was associated with the devil. So Lilith is a night demon under the dominion of Belial that takes up habitation in the place where the asteroid hits, according to Isaiah 34. Therefore, Lilith represents the locusts. In medieval folk legend, Lilith was Adam's wife, which we know is the Isha, the hybrid. In ancient Sumer, Lilith was an infertile, beautiful maiden, a harlot, and a vampire. It was also known as a blood-sucking creature with a lion's head and a child-killing demon known as the Daughter of Heaven. In Jeremiah 7:18, it says, "The children of Judah kindle the fires and make cakes for the Queen of Heaven, and this is a bad thing." The May Queen, therefore, on Beltane, the Baal worship day, refers to the Queen of Heaven, Lilith, a child-killing vampire. There's another interesting connection to the world governments and the Vatican in this. Lilith is referred to as an owl in Scripture. At Bohemian Grove, a summer camp for the most powerful people on the planet, a fire ceremony is held in front of a large stone owl. It's called the Cremation of Care. The Cremation of Care ceremony began in 1929, the same year the Vatican was established in Italy. That was the healing of the beast's wound. It was also the start of the Great Depression. On that year, the most powerful people in the world began observing a fire ritual in which actors dressed eerily like popes would burn a human-shaped effigy in a bonfire in front of a giant stone owl. At Bohemian Grove, these world leaders also pay homage to a man who kept the secrets of the Queen. It's well known among Bible scholars that the Queen, Babylon the Great, was first associated with the Holy Roman Empire and the Vatican. Baal, the god of the Beltane fire ceremony, is also connected to Molech, the god associated with child sacrifice. I also found it interesting that the international distress call Mayday was officially declared in 1948. So much of this connects back to 1948, and the Bible says the king of Babylon will only have 70 years from that time. 2018 marks the end of the 70 years from 1948. Also, Beltane in 2018 will land on ancient biblical Passover. Passover was the day they sacrificed the lamb, and Beltane is also a day they sacrificed a lamb. But as far as I know, Beltane and Passover have not lined up before, only in 2018. Again, it points to the rain of fire and brimstone and the locusts or hybrids that will become visible after that. Joel 2 also indicates it will occur in the first month, which in 2018 lasts from April 16th to May 14th, also lining up with Beltane. For more information on the ancient calendar and our biblical prophetic timeline, please see the playlist linked here. Thank you to those who make this work possible. If you like this video, please consider providing support using the link below. I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you later.